What do the Old and New Testaments mean? What is the relationship between Judaism, Christianity, and Islam? And what about Catholicism, Protestantism, and Eastern Orthodoxy? Hello everyone, I'm Lao Gong. Today we're going to talk about some of the most commonly heard but least understood religious terms and take you through the historical stories of the three major religions. To talk about the religious stories of the Bible, we must start with one person, Adam, also called Adon. This name marks the origin of the stories for the three major religions that dominate the beliefs of nearly half the world's population. This, of course, refers to the story of Adam and Eve. Back in the day, Adam and Eve were expelled from the Garden of Eden because they could not resist the temptation of the serpent and ate the forbidden fruit. They then fell in love and began to reproduce. Among their descendants, an important figure emerged, Noah, the one from Noah's Ark. He led his family of 8 to escape God's punishment upon humanity, the Great Flood. From then on, history took a new turn. This happened around 2150 BCE, near present-day Iraq. Among Noah's descendants, there was a man named Abraham. One morning, Abraham woke up groggy and told his people that he had a dream in which the one true God of the universe spoke to him. God instructed him to make a covenant, promising that if he and his descendants lived according to God's will, he would lead them to a promised land called Canaan. Abraham then led his people to Canaan, which is today's war-torn Palestine region. Here we must mention Judaism and its connection to Jerusalem, the holy city of three religions, located in the Palestinian region. For Jews, this land was divinely promised to them, which is why Jerusalem has remained central to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Simply put, it is a battle of faith between Jews and Arabs. After Abraham and his people settled in Palestine for about 10 years, a famine struck in 205 BCE. Abraham's grandson, Jacob, then led his people in a mass migration. Jacob has an interesting story. He once wrestled with an angel. Though he was injured, he ultimately won, and the angel granted him the name Israel, meaning one who struggles with God. From then on, Jacob's descendants called themselves Israelites. This is why, according to tradition, Israelites do not eat the sinew from an animal's thigh. So where did Jacob lead his people? They arrived in Egypt, where he was reunited with his long-lost son Joseph. Joseph, with his gift of interpreting dreams, had risen to a high position in Egypt, similar to a royal advisor. Naturally, he welcomed Jacob and his family, providing them with a new home. At first, the Israelites lived peacefully in Egypt, but soon tensions arose. The Israelites believed in one true God, rejecting the Egyptian gods, including Ra, the sun god. The Egyptians were furious. How could these foreigners live on their land and then claim their gods were false? Even worse, the Israelites secretly allied with northern Egyptian rebels to overthrow the Egyptian government. In response, the Pharaoh enslaved the Israelites, forcing them into hard labor for 40 years. This lasted until 153 BCE, when a new prophet emerged among the Israelites, Moses. One day, while working, Moses got into an argument with a taskmaster and ended up killing him. Fearing for his life, he fled Egypt. During his escape, he encountered God, who told him that instead of running away, he should return and free the Israelites. This led to the famous Exodus. Moses led the Israelites on their escape while the Egyptian army pursued them. Eventually, they were blocked by the Red Sea. At this moment, Moses used his divine power to part the waters, allowing his people to cross. Once they were safely on the other side, he closed the waters behind them, cutting off the Egyptians. After this, Moses told his people that God wanted him to sign a contract with him. He climbed Mount Sinai, where he received the 10 Commandments, the core laws of Judaism. At this point, the foundation of Judaism was established, and what Christians later called the Old Testament was written. However, Jews do not call it that. They refer to it as the Tanakh. So what does the Old Testament say? Essentially, it records the covenant between the Israelites and God, stating that they are his chosen people. Only by believing in God can one be saved on Judgment Day. The Israelites later returned to Canaan and grew into 12 tribes. Around 104 BCE, King David united these tribes and established the Kingdom of Israel. His son Solomon built the first Jewish temple in Jerusalem. However, the kingdom only lasted 3 generations before it split. In 721 BCE, the northern kingdom of Israel was conquered by the Assyrian Empire, while the southern kingdom of Judah, formed by King David's lineage, became an Assyrian vassal state. The surviving people of Judah came to be known as Jews. Moving forward in time in 586 BCE, the kingdom of Judah was conquered by the Babylonian Empire. Babylonian warriors destroyed the Temple of Jerusalem and took the Jews into captivity, marking the infamous Babylonian exile. Hope returned when the Persians conquered Babylon, allowing the Jews to return to Canaan and rebuild their nation and temple. However, in 356 BCE, Alexander the Great of Macedonia destroyed the Persian Empire, placing the Jews under Greek rule. Later, they became a province of the Roman Empire. In 70 BCE, the Romans, disapproving of Jewish religious practices, attacked Jerusalem, destroying the Second Temple. This led to the Jewish diaspora, where Jews were scattered worldwide. They remained stateless for nearly 2 millennia, until they re-established Israel in the 20th century. During these centuries, Jews suffered discrimination globally. One possible reason is their strict religious exclusivity. Judaism does not actively seek converts, as it believes only ethnic Jews are God's chosen people. This exclusivity made Judaism difficult to spread widely. However, this same strong identity and resilience kept the Jewish people united despite centuries of hardship. And that is the story of Israel, Judaism, and the Jewish people.